This is long overdue, I have to be honest. He's not been back in a while. A lot has happened with his Giants. He's a superstar these days. You can check him out on WFAN's Midday Show. He does Talking Giants. And I would say he's top three, if not the biggest Giant fan I know. Is that fair, Shaun Morash?
JJ, you have, by virtue of your wedding, 50,000 friends, so only you could answer that question in terms of Giant fans. But yeah, and it has been a while. Quite frankly, I can tell you the last time I was here, and it was the moment Chris Drury became the general manager of the Rangers. So the fact that we've been to a couple conference finals and a teardown since tells me I don't know what kind of friend you are anyway, but here I am.
Well, you're here. You're ready to go. On a scale of 1 to 10, you're always excited for football season, so I'm probably asking the wrong person. Because the Giants could be 3-14 bad. Week 1 rolls around. Bob's Bar, Bob's by the Bay. Everybody in the Morash household, these are events. They're events for your daughters. They're events for you. But as far as like an anticipation standpoint of having a chance to be successful, where are you like saying, hey, I really, really believe in this team? From a scale of 1 being the least in, 10 being the most in.
Well, I guess first, JJ, I hate to be like minute, but what does believe in this team mean? Do I believe they're going to win the Super Bowl this year?
No. That's fine. I appreciate the clarification. Yeah. How about this? Be in the playoffs.
A 6.
Okay.
I would put it. Here's the thing. I say a 6, even though if I had to bet, I don't think playoffs. But I say a 6 just because I still think they're going to be in that 8, 9. But if they win a couple games in the margins that they normally wouldn't, maybe that gets them to 10 and in. Plus, I'm very, very skeptical about like the last 2 wild cards, like who's going to come out of it in the NFC. I'm not a believer in some of the other contenders that others would be. But look, JJ, here's what I'm looking for out of the Giants this year. And I don't think it's like a crazy thought. I want that initial Dan Campbell 2022 type season where they're coming. They're a tough as hell football team. They're in it through December. And if you fall short, you live with it, but you go to the offseason knowing that next year this team is on the come. And that might sound like I'm really like shooting low here, but we're talking about a team that won 4 games last year and 2 of them in the last 2 weeks of the season. And I think we need to remind ourselves of that this team still has a long way to go. They still have a couple glaring holes. But just by virtue of the quarterback taking the next step, hopefully, and a coach that isn't going to be a bumbling idiot, hopefully, at times in these close games, I think this is a team that's going to be probably 8 wins. And if all goes well, I mean, that's the upside where I go a 6 out of 10, where, okay, maybe you do get to 10.
It's funny. You look at the slow starts in years past. Mm-hmm. This is actually a year, Shaun, where if they actually don't get off to a slow start, that really set up for success. Like in other years, I'd look at the Giants and I'd say, wow, if you lose those first 2 games, here we go. We're off to the races. Last year kind of took on that vibe. I can give you other years where it took on that vibe. Because of Harbaugh, because of the belief I have with some of the things they've done on the roster, are you kind of in the same boat where they can go and lose to the Cowboys in week 1? They can lose to the Rams in week 2, and it's not total skies falling stuff?
Absolutely. This would feel like a much different 0-2. However, we also got to ask ourselves, how does it look, right? Because if you start 0-2 and the Cowboys pull a 2023 opener where you're kicking your teeth in, field goals are getting blocked the other way, and it's 40-0, and then Puka Nacua is running all over the place for 200 yards, you may be a little uneasy, and you may enter week 3 going, now we're a little more banged up. Who knows? Maybe the Titans are pesky. So I think all 0-2s are not necessarily created equal, but the overall point stands. Look, they're going to play the Titans, the Cardinals, whatever the Saints are, which, I'm up on them, but would I be as high on them if they weren't playing in that division? You know what I mean?
You wouldn't be picking them to make the playoffs if they were in the NFC.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So that's why I don't look at that as, well, if you think the Saints are a playoff team, why are you viewing that as a game the Giants should win? I mean, the Giants should have beat them last year. I think the Giants have more talent than the Saints. Jordan Tyson banged up. I'm going through the schedule here feeling like I'm doing the win-loss, but you get the point. Tunsil out for Washington. You play them after then. Like, you should go on a mini run here. And if the Giants ever were, and JJ, this is where I'm not necessarily sold on the 0-2 thing, they have treated this training camp unlike training camps have passed because of Harbaugh, where, I mean, guys are getting nicked up and banged up because they are not having time off. I mean, they were maximizing every minute by all accounts of every training camp practice in West Virginia. You saw the starters, some semblance of them go out and play in this first preseason game. John Harbaugh is having this team more prepared to play in weeks 1 and 2 than they have been under probably the last 3 coaches. Maybe you want to say Joe Judge had them prepared. They just had less talent. That's fine. But I do believe that this is an opportunity for the Giants in those first 2 games where, I mean, everybody wants to throw bouquets at the Cowboys' feet, and I get it. They have a ton of weapons.
Guilty.
Yep, you're another sucker. You're going to be one of these guys that gets right in line. I'm not sold that defense is fixed. Like, I got to see those pass rushers be legitimate pass rushers. That could be a game where, it's a Giant Denver type game where or the Giants Cowboys last year where it's a bit of a track meet, and maybe it's the Giant pass rushers making the game ending plays. Like, I think they can beat Dallas in week 1. Week 2, as much as that's a tall task, do we know how
You're getting
the
Rams in a good spot after Australia, if
exactly.
we're being honest.
No bye week after Australia. The Rams, the reports are they're going to try to get in the day before Australia, leave right after. Their clocks are going to be all thrown off. You never know. Like, that could be a spot if you're more well-prepared to play football and they're a little sleepy. Maybe you find a way to win one of those 2 games. And if you find a way to win one of those 2 games, JJ, that's the kind of scenario I'm talking about where I go from thinking, is this an 8-win team to, well, now they're really set up. They're 1-1 with those 4 winnable games coming up in a row. But you know how football is to lose one of those back and forth. But yeah, I mean, it's all about that fast start. I hate to go on and on and on and drone on about it, but I think they're more set up not to be a failure at 0-2 than ever, and probably more set up to steal one of those first 2 games than ever based on this camp.
Okay. You love the preseason games. You dive into it. You love the film. You eat all this crap up. All this crap up.
I was late to a wedding ceremony yesterday on
No, you
on
weren't.
Saturday.
No,
I was, because I had to watch the last 3 minutes. And JJ, I'm screaming and yelling. I thought Harbaugh's clock management to end that game was atrocious. Could Dominic Zaveda come out and try a 63-yard field goal? All I've heard about is this kid's leg, and it's freaking 2:40 left in the game, and he sends out Jordan Stout to punt. Who needs another punt in that spot? He's an all-pro punter. Can I see the young?
You want to see the monster field goal?
Yeah, let's go see it. What's the point of a kicking competition? So yes, I am into the preseason games from that standpoint.
Okay, Dart takes the hit, and you know what the initial consensus is going to be? Oh, Jaxson Dart always gets hurt. He's a ragdoll. Blah blah blah. This was not one of these instances where Jaxson Dart's running around like a man possessed. This is a football play. Tyrone Tracy misses a block. Brian Flores sends exotic blitzes. This crap happens all the time. That said, were you pissed off you went back into the game?
I was. I know it's easy to say you're not after the fact because he threw a beautiful touchdown to Malachi Fields and everybody's feeling great about it, including me. But I was pissed off that he went out after the first series, and I know what Harbaugh's trying to do. They're trying to install an offense and get things going. But they were down 2 of their 5 starting offensive linemen. Say what you want about JMS at center, it's still the fact. 2 out of their 5 offensive linemen. I know that's a Tyrone Tracy play, and his pass protection has been actually pretty good through his first 2 years of career, so it feels kind of freaky. But knowing Brian Flores and knowing he's not going to hold back, and Harbaugh's comments after the game about they didn't really start to do a prepare until a walkthrough for the actual Vikings and what they do till Friday because of the preseason game. That doesn't jive, man. Like, you got to know that Brian Flores is going to be sending the dogs. You're not playing multiple offensive linemen. When he takes that shot, it makes us feel better, I guess, that he went out there and threw the touchdown. But to me, I was like, let's just call it a day. Now, I will say, JJ, you're the first person I'm going to give this take to because it's been almost 24 hours, and I have flip-flopped in my own brain.
Okay, I'm curious.
The only way out I'm going to give on not being mad at Harbaugh for this is if I could play Harbaugh a brain. John Harbaugh this offseason, in what has felt like 7 different instances where a major controversy has kind of gone away quickly because of the way Harbaugh has handled it, whether it was the Trump and the tweet crap from Abdul Carter. There's been other things, and I'm forgetting Malik Neighbors and coming back and, kind of like we told you he was going to be ready. When Malik Neighbors was mouthing off with the draft, he went right into, this is the deal with Arvell Reese, is how we're going to use him. He has squashed every one of these things. I have to wonder in the back of my mind, the moment Jaxson Dart was totally fine out of that blue tent, if that was John Harbaugh doing a 2-pronged message to the NFL, number one, to go, it was ridiculous he was sent to the tent to begin with. Look, he's fine. So fine that I feel comfortable in a preseason game putting him back out there. And that's a value coach. And number 2, I think if Dart's last play in that game was him taking that shot and he doesn't come back in, what are we all talking about?
No, that's the narrative. You're absolutely right about that. That is the narrative we're talking about going to next week.
Yeah,
going in
we're saying it's even all right. Do you even believe the blue tent stuff? So I just looked at that from Harbaugh now, like as I've marinated on. Harbaugh's a smarter football guy, and I disagree with putting him back out there. But if that was his mindset, it's also true because the conversation now is more, it's ridiculous he went to the tent, where the conversation would have been, oh my God, can he stay healthy? And do we even know if he's healthy? Do we believe the Giants after that tent?
Shaun, that said, though, this blue tent stuff,
it's absurd.
The NFL's, I don't want to say out to get Jaxson Dart. I think that's the wrong way to kind of phrase it. But he's under the microscope. He just is. And I don't know what it takes for him to get out of that. But, dude, get used to this. You're going to see this multiple times throughout the year, and it's going to piss you off.
It is. And look, I do think Brian Dable did significant damage to this narrative when he rushed in the blue tent last year. So here's my issue, though, with the NFL. If you watch that hit and you saw Dart like take a hard head hit or his head smash the turf, I totally get sending him in there. I think it's an over violation by the NFL to have sent him.
It's over the top. No question.
Like, it was a chest shot. That was a football play. And ironically enough, when you go back to that big hit he took against on the sideline against the Patriots last year, and he got sent to the tent, that was absurd too. The sad part is Jaxson Dart actually should be proving to the narrative and to the NFL that he's the opposite of fragile. He is somebody that could take a hit because every time he takes a hit, he pops back up, and he's got a little Tony Romo in him with that. So I do find it crazy that I think we're all watching this going up. That's just more proof Dart could take this, and yet the NFL is looking at it as more proof he should go to the blue tent. Here's what it's going to take, man, unfortunately. Harbaugh spoke a little bit on Sunday with the media about how he thought it was ridiculous and all this. I think he's got to be more vocal about this. I think John Harbaugh is a legacy type of head coach, CEO type of head coach. I think I would have blasted the NFL today if I was him, and maybe that's not his nature, but somebody's got to get more of an air because otherwise you just let this whole narrative take off. And if John Harbaugh is not going to be the guy to squash it, I don't know who is.
Speaking of a narrative taking off, Mr. Fields, beautiful catch. Love a big body. Love a guy who can go and score touchdowns.
You mean Nico Collins Jr., JJ?
She's running with that already. Oh, boy. Long way to go. Long way to go before he's Mr. Collins. He's one of my favorite receivers in the league, by the way. He's a guy Shaun is betting a lot on Sunday to score touchdowns. That we know.
Mike Evans.
He might be. Is Fields, in your opinion, though, the guy that you have circled? I want to take Likely out of this because we know he's going to get a lot of looks. We know he's not a wide receiver.
No. We'll view him as a tight end for the sake of the conversation. I got
Precisely. The guy alongside Neighbors, you think at the end of this year, more than likely, it's going to end up being Fields?
At the end of the year, without a doubt. And I think certainly the Giants have showed you through the training camp reps and that preseason game yesterday that is their plan as well. While the likes of having a slate, and we'll see Mooney's been very quiet on the roster, certainly exist, and there's depth, and I'm not even getting to the Odell Beckham stuff. Look, the bottom line is this, JJ. They tapped into what is going to be a rich 2027 draft pool when they gave up their third-round pick next year to move up into this third round to get Malachi Fields. I don't think you do that with that kind of capital if you don't think immediately he has some kind of impact. And when you think of the big physical team that John Harbaugh is trying to put forth with Patrick Ricard and Francis Mauigoa, well, hand in hand with that and almost overlooked is the fact that Malachi Fields was arguably the best blocking wide receiver that was taken within the first 3 rounds of this past NFL draft. And I think that he had that Harbaugh physicality trait. And if you're putting Malachi Fields on the field only like it's sparing parts as your wide receiver too, I think it's going to be more of a tell that you're kind of always running the ball when Malachi Fields is out there. So I think, plays like that where you can go high point of football. Maybe he doesn't have the best separation, but he can go get it in the scramble drill and even the catch over the middle where he went low and Jameis had it. I think they're pushing that, and I think certainly by November, he should be logging the majority of the second outside wide receiver snaps outside of Malik Neighbors because of the investment and just because of the fact that he does so much more than catch a football. He's also there on the perimeter where they're going to be a run-heavy team. So, yeah, I think Fields is the answer. And to be honest with you, JJ, I think we're probably trending ahead of that. Like, it wouldn't shock me at all if he's literally out there for the very first snap on opening night versus Dallas as an outside wide receiver too.
You mentioned him, dismissed him, Beckham. He making this team?
My guess is yes.
I'll tell you, Harbaugh after the game didn't exactly give him the ringing endorsement. I don't know if you heard that quote. He was like, I'm rooting for him. He basically was like, it's a great story. I'm rooting for him. He goes, how's this all going to work out? We'll see.
Here's the problem, JJ.
That told me a lot.
It did tell me a lot. And everybody who went nuts about the tape saying, look how open Odell Beckham was. Okay, you're right. And Brandon Allen did him no favors forcing the ball to Ryan Miller or whatnot. But shouldn't Odell Beckham, even at his age, be getting open versus the second and third teamers?
Guys who are not going to be in the league, on practice squads.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking about guys with no offense to them are going to have tape measures out at Home Depot soon. I mean, these are the kind of guys that he's getting open against. I would certainly hope he's getting open with them, and I would have liked to see him make more plays, but I didn't see anything from Odell outside of the natural twitchiness that he has, speed-wise, that told me, hey, you feel comfortable with him taking significant snaps versus real NFL secondaries at all. If his name wasn't Odell Beckham Jr. and it was, I don't know, like it was Juju Smith-Schuster and you saw that performance yesterday, you banging the table for him to make the team? Probably not. And they clearly love Braxton Berrios. If you notice that first,
you're gonna like Berrios too. He's a good special teams player,
good special teamer. And they listed him JJ's punt returner 1. I mean, you go through the logs of Giant history, and I was a new coach. You're listed as a starter on specials, offense or defense.
You're making the team.
It's hard to imagine you not making the team. So Berrios is making the team, and Slayton's making the team, and Calvin Austin's making the team, and Malachi Fields and Neighbors are making the team. Are they going to cut Darnell Mooney to keep Odell Beckham? Now, I will say my buddy Art Stapleton, the great Art Stapleton, who I get the feeling is a little closer with Odell than he'll lead on to believe.
Wow, Art and Odell, buddy. Okay.
I think so from the first go around. I think Art's a what would you could say, like an ally there. He said he has no comment on this, but his read would be he thinks in a world the Giants could offer Odell a spot on the practice squad, and if you're Odell, he would take it just to kind of hang around and be around the team and use his elevation.
Yeah, because who else is signing him?
Nobody's signing him, and it hadn't really thought on me, like, would Odell swallow his pride and go to the practice squad? Well, if he really cares about finishing his story as a Giant, why wouldn't he ride out the year and say, man, I'm one injury away from being on this team anyway for an elevation? So I actually think that's a route. I think Odell could get cut and be on the practice squad, especially after the way that first preseason game went.
All right, the run defense was a huge problem.
Oh, Christ.
Disaster. Total disaster in this game. And you know the deal. Dexter Lawrence, now a member of the Cincinnati Bengals.
It sucked with Fat Dex, to be honest.
To be fair, you're absolutely right about that. Dexter Lawrence had a down year, and I had no problem with the trade. I ask you this. The biggest X factor for the Giants, if the run defense is going to be workmanlike and respectable to the point where the pass rushers, Shaun, can go and eat, because you know this. If you don't stop the run, then all of a sudden you're on roller skates as a pass rusher, and you're going to negate Burns, and you're going to negate Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau, because these guys are going to be on their heels. What is it? Is it Edmonds? Is it Arvell Reese? Is it somebody? What is the X factor for them?
Well, it's the combination of the fact that this linebacking room is the best it has been, I mean, geez, and forever. Like, JJ, the dudes, like, our parents and stuff like that. Those people of that generation are going to love Arvell Reese and Tremaine Edmonds, because it's going to remind them of the 80s. But it's going to probably be
Carson, LT,
no doubt.
Of course, yeah.
So
and even of our age, dude, with the Jesse Armsteads and the Antonio Pierces, you're used to the Giants having big-time linebackers.
No doubt. And that is where this difference is going to be. They're not going to be the same room up front. But you can get by with DJ Reader and Shelby Harris, and hopefully Darius Alexander kind of fixing that. They're going to play some of Thibodeau and Golston on the inside on certain downs. I think to that point, Workman likes a good point. But what they hadn't had the past couple of years was that second layer of linebacker. You're talking about Bobby Okereke and Darius Muasau. And the one guy, ironically enough, who was okay in that role the last 3 years before he got hurt in opening day was Micah McFadden. He had the worst angle of them all, missing that tackle on that first run by Aaron Jones. But he's also now your third linebacker that's there for depth. The idea that Arvell Reese, who came in and did make a play on that second drive, and it looked just perfect on the run defense. They didn't play Tremaine Edmonds in that preseason game as well. I think those two, with their wingspan, their sideline-to-sideline speed, and Edmonds certainly still does have some in the tank, but it's certainly going to help having a beast like Arvell Reese next to him. I just think having those two chess pieces in that second level of the defense that are able to crash down, fill the gaps, and even catch up sideline to sideline, that has to be the X factor to improve this run defense and overall, stop things from being in 3rd and 2 and get them more into 3rd and 6 and whatnot, and allow those pass rushers to eat on 3rd down. It's all about those two linebackers and the whole X factor of the entire freaking defense.
Okay, I want to hit you on the Yankees, but final Giant one.
All right.
The Giants will have a successful season if...
Obviously, it's a couple things, but they'll have a successful
Let's take
season.
health out of it, because that's an obvious one. If they're not healthy, they're going to have problems. That's any team.
Jaxson Dart has this as a top 12 offense in football. Because the truth is, while everybody's talking about the pass rush and talking about the defense, I have major questions about the secondary. I still have major questions about the run defense. Team's going to have to score points. And I thought Dart did a really good job of that last year with way less weapons. Neighbors, likely, talked about Fields. Ricard adding a little bit of holes to the run game. Stafford's gonna have to score points, and I'm not even asking him to be a top 10 defense. You get to this, I think 12's the sweet spot, scoring offense in football. Then I think you're going to be able to hang around games where maybe your defense isn't having its best day. You'll also be able to have some games where you have leads in the fourth quarter that allow your pass rush to pin its ears back. I think it all comes down to Dart taking that step forward, and this offense just being able to score points when they absolutely have to. Like, you can't be hanging around hoping that with 19 points and 16 points in field goal fest, you're going to win football games. You're not. Team's going to have to go find a way to get to, the magic number is probably going to be 24 every game for this team. That's on Dart, and that's on the offense.
2 Yankee takes for you. Thank God they won this game today, by the way.
My
If the
God.
Rice booted the ball and then Sanchez can't block the ball, I'm waiting for Clement to hit the opposite field single. I was actually relieved he hit a sac fly. It was like, you know, because he's a winning player, he's going to produce.
No, you take the out with the run there. I agree.
Rice redeems himself. The social studies teacher does the job, and they win the game. Two takes on the Yankees, though. One, I saw this aggregated. You mentioned it with Weathers, that you trust him more than Rodon. And I saw that, and I'm like, really? And now, Shawnee, the more and more I think about it, I think you might be on it. Well, listen, he's better than your boy Warren. Your boy Warren better enjoy the bullpen. I don't need to see him start anymore. He's way too volatile. Weather's been awesome over his last 7 starts. But here's the other one I have for you.
All right.
I want Caballero to play more. And if it means Jazz Chisholm sits a couple of days a week, I don't give a rat's ass. He's not playing well enough to play. Sorry.
Yeah, Boone immediately basically told the world that Jazz is going to go right back out there and play on Tuesday night versus Baltimore. And I understand, right? You don't want to like totally bench.
He doesn't want to lose him, but you know what? I think you got to be on guard with that, though.
Exactly. But I would say this: if the day off is supposed to help jumpstart him, right? And he went out there and he scored the run coming off the bench, and I thought he had a good attitude about it. If it doesn't jumpstart him in Baltimore, I'm with you, JJ. Look, I think you and I are both Jose Caballero flag bearers here. Here's the truth. As much as he might annoy the hell out of some people and like, okay, you're going to slow down the pace, costing Wells a pitch clock violation last week, yada, yada, yada. Look at the batting averages on this team, and batting averages still matter to me. Jose Caballero's got, the 3rd best batting average on the entire roster.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy, but it's true. Good things happen when Jose Caballero's in the lineup. And whether it's base running, pest-like, whatever, in a team that struggles and scratches and claws to score every run, Jose Caballero, whatever net ranking you want to come up with, whatever analytical BS you want to come up with, feels like he accounts for a run a game. And that is so important and crucial to this team that, yeah, I'm with you, man. And what, are you really losing anything defensively by him playing second
And Sean,
base?
don't tell the nerds this. The nerds will tell you that Volpe was on par with Caballero. I mean, they don't watch the same games that we watch, but, you know.
Use your eyeballs. And it also matters the moment in which it happens. JJ, I'm with you. And look, we'll go down, 5 weeks from now, we'll have more of a longer conversation. I do think they should be giving Garcia Jr. more of a second baseman's glove at least once a week just to see if he can do it, because I don't know what you're going to do in the playoffs in terms of playing all these DHs. But for the time being, yeah, I'd keep Caballero to playing more than just once a week now, because he's totally taken a back seat since Lombard's come up, and obviously understandably
We're cool with that,
what King George is doing it short. But you need to get Caballero worked in. Also, I mean, look, I can't believe I've come around on our guy Ryan McMahon and the way he's had some clutch at-bats this year, clearly. But that wouldn't stop me from playing also Caballero some at third if you're willing to force Jazz in at second as well. I want to see him more. I'm with you.
And we can fast forward to first week in October. You're already prepared for Yankees Red Sox, right? Like that's happening.
Who are you starting game 1?
Oh, wow. Where is the game being played?
Yankee Stadium. I think at this point the Red Sox have buried themselves enough. I mean, what are you doing today?
Cam Schwiller.
I'm different than you, man.
Who you got, Max Fried?
I would start Max Fried. Yes, I'd start Max Fried.
I'm okay with that. I don't think it's crazy.
Here's the way I'd look at it. Either way, I'm win or go home with Cole in game 2. But if I could get it where I don't have to use Schlittler and he's sitting there waiting for a game 1 of the division series on the turnaround.
But I got to be honest, Sean, I don't care about any of those guys starting game 1 of the next series. This is not Luis Heel last year. You know what I mean?
No,
it's
I
like,
get it.
My feeling is.
But if you're game 1, you're game 5, and I want Schlittler starting 2 games in that next series.
Fine, that's fair. I like the split of having the righty, lefty, righty. Okay. Because Fried is so different than those other 2 guys. True. So you could go with Cole in game 1. Honestly, I'm okay with that. If you go Cole game 1, Fried game 2, Schlittler game 3. I just want Fried in the middle because he's a different pitching style. And I feel like it throws you off a little bit.
No issue. And I think we forget because he kind of had an ass start in Toronto. I mean, he went toe-to-toe with Garrett Crochet, and that was all about the Yankees.
Awesome start. And the Yankees,
it was great.
Yucked the game away. You're the best. By the way, we call my godson, my nephew, Mr. Fats. So I made.
Chunky
by the way,
baby
Shawnee's looking great. He's doing the Peloton. I'm going to get my ass on there right now. I can't run. I've been taking it easy, Sean, because
you're
of the
still
foot.
banged up from this game. I mean, it was a month ago. Can you get over yourself?
Let me tell you something. As a parting thought, the next time you roast an athlete who gets turf toe, I want you to send them my way because I'm going to have their back 1,000%. It's a pain in the ass, dude.
Eli played a whole year with turf toe. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, it's a disaster. Shaun Morash, middays, FAN, talking Giants. When's your next episode coming out? You guys already
It
released?
just dropped. We taped it today. Just dropped today. It'll be on there. I'm actually off of WFAN all week, so the only time you'll hear me is this pod and Talking Giants, basically.
Well, you enjoy the staycation. Maybe we'll see you down at Sesame Place, and we'll see you soon, all right?
Me and Cookie Monster hanging out.
See you, Shawnee.
Later.